All right. Now, what you often do in modeling is say, there's a low, there's a high. The actual value that I'll use is like a random number between those two. So let me copy this title here. Let me call this an expense random. Okay, and I'm going to center everything here. So I want to know, what is the home repair expense? It's going to be a random number, rand between 190, 210. It picked 210. Fun. Now here, it's 192. Now, this is a problem we're not going to worry about, but notice how when I bring this down, it resets everything. So I'm going to take this, bring it down, it does the random numbers again. There is a way to make that stay stable, but that's not something we need to worry about for us. So I'm just going to keep going. Oops, and I even need to bring it down more. Okay, and now let's have the sum of all of my random expenses. And so we have a high and a low and then a randomly chosen monthly expense number. Okay, now what if I wanted to create a column that was titled, let me copy this so I have the same formatting. It was called expense, but low, high, random. And I'm even going to put the word expense there, even though it's long, just to be more descriptive. Now, before we fill this in, let me come over here and do a little example. Suppose I have my name. And then what I wanted to do here is I want it to say Lori Coben. That's what I want. Well, so earlier we looked at the reverse of this. Earlier, I would say, let's look at Lori Coben. And we went to the data, and we did text to column, and it's delimited. And we said, what is it delimited with? Oops, let me see. It's got a little problem here. Exit drawing. Okay. It's delimited with a space, and it splits it up, and it wrote it into columns. I want to do the reverse of that. So I actually want to put this information into one column. Okay, so now that's called concatenating, to put together. And there is a function called concatenate that I'll use in different videos, but there's a nice symbol. And the symbol is ampersand. Ampersand concatenates. So if I do this, N ampersand column O, it will put things together. Now, ideally, what I would like is a space in there. So I'm going to go back into my space. I want like a space concatenated with the first and last name. But how do you tell Excel to do a space? Well, anything in text needs to be in quotes. So I'm going to do quotes and put a space in there so that it will take this string symbol, which is actually a single space, and it will put that between the first and the last. Whoops, it will put it between the first and the last. Let me see. It's there. It's just hard to see. Let's make it more visible. There we go. Now it's more visible. And so that is a way you can put information together. So if I wanted to put low, high, random, and I wanted it to look something like the low, I wanted it to look like the low of 190. Let me just switch this. Let me format this. I'm going to format it as like text, I think. So I could want this to look like the low of 190. And then the high of 210. Let's do underscore because that's what I have in the title. And then we have the random number of 191. Maybe that is what I want for this. And so I'm going to want to concatenate a bunch of stuff together. So first, let me just concatenate these numbers. So I have that number to be concatenated with this number to be concatenated with this number. And they're all just they would come in together. Oh, I don't want it as text. Let's format. Let's go to general. Don't even do what I did there. All right, so we're going to have this. I'm just going to erase it. And then I could say it equals that, but concatenated with this. Now you see how there's no space? I want a space in there. So let me go back and concatenate a space. I'm going to put, or actually I didn't say space, I said underscore. So now we have the 190 underscore 210. Now we need another underscore, so I'll concatenate another underscore. And now we need the random, so I will concatenate the random. And then lastly, I want to open it and close it with a parenthesis. So I'm going to come to the beginning and concatenate an opening parenthesis. And I'm going to go to the end and concatenate a closing parenthesis. We'll center us up. And that's a nice low, high, random triplet. We'll copy that down. And notice when this changes, these numbers change too. It's dynamic like that. Okay, and that will be the end of this section.